one of the best things about the Cooper Middle School Math Department is the quiz grade adjustment. The math department grades on a point system in which the grade is determined by the percentage of points earned out of the possible points. Let's take a look at an example of some grades. We've got two guys here, Dawn and John. You can see that the total number of points in the work so far is 52 points. So to compute their overall average, we would take the total number of points. Dawn has 31 points out of that 52, so his average right now is a 60, and John has 30 points out of 52, so his average is a 58. Both seem to be struggling a little bit, but that's okay. We're still in the midst of the unit. Let's take a look a little bit more carefully at the work. You can see here that both Dawn and John have been doing the required work. They've done the classwork and the homework, and they've gotten full points for those. That's great. Then when it came to the quizzes, both were still struggling a bit. And so you can see their quiz scores here. And let's take a look at the actual quiz average if we just isolate the quizzes. So Dawn has scored a total of 23 points out of the total 44 for both those quizzes. So his average, quiz average is a 52, and John has a 55 quiz average. All right, now it's time for the unit test, and both boys got their act together and they managed to each score a 90 on the unit test. That's great. They must have come to office hours and done some extra practice and rewatched videos. That's great. So now let's take a look at their overall average. You can see that we're now up to 152 points, and Dawn got 121 out of those 152 to get an 80%, and John is just behind that at a 79%. So that's pretty good. That's an improvement, but it's still a little frustrating because it's still a little bit below the level of mastery that they have demonstrated on their unit test. Both got an A on the unit test, but their grade is a very low B or a very high C. That's where the quiz grade adjustment comes in. And it's based on whether the quiz corrections have been completed. So you can see here, Dawn did his quiz corrections, and he's got 1 point in each of those spots. And John did not. So he's got 0. Now, 0 and 1 doesn't seem like it's going to make that big of a difference. However, this is just the barrier to entry for the quiz grade adjustment. So Dawn gets the quiz grade adjustment, but John does not. Let's see how that works out. So we've got a handy little spreadsheet that computes our quiz grade adjustment, and Dawn's QGA is 16.6 points. Well, where does that come from? Let's take a look again at that quiz average. Dawn originally had 23 out of 44 points. Well, if we take 16.6 and add it to the 23 and still be dividing by the 44 points, that will work out to be an average of 90. And that 90 matches exactly what he got on the unit test. So that's where the 16.6 comes from. We look for the quantity of points that will make that average of his quiz match the test. John, so sad, he didn't get it because he didn't do his corrections. Now let's take a look at their overall average. With that QGA in there, look at Dawn. He's up to a 91. John is still at 79. So Dawn's average really does match his level of mastery. We recognize that sometimes kids just don't get it during the unit, and the quiz is just a way to show what you still need to do and what you have mastered. We really look at the unit test as a way to indicate mastery of the material, and that's why we use that QGA to compensate for the math struggle that's happening through the unit. So remember, your quiz corrections are important because they really help you learn the material that you're still struggling with. And they also qualify you to get the quiz grade adjustment as long as they're completed by the unit test.